for me. Blood in my dog and I can't see. I'm trying to be what I'm destined to be. And niggas trying to take my life away. I put a hole in a nigga for fucking.
What's up, guys? Time to work on the R34 GTT. So this car landed a few weeks ago straight from Japan. It's a nice clean GTT factory manual turbo car. And I do have plans to do the full body conversion like I've done a few times now. And I already have all the parts. But since it's summertime, I'm gonna enjoy it for the summer before it goes under the knife. Gonna just do some basic stuff like wheels and tires and new Silvers Coilovers. These are the Silvers Neo Max. You can see for the R34. Comes with all kinds of stuff. Little build sheet, receipt number, sticker, and a collar for the front brake line. Take a look. I'm sure most of you already know how to install a set of coilovers. It's pretty basic, but I'll try to get as much footage as I can. Let's get started. The front is extremely simple. You got two nuts up here for the top of the strut. And you got one bolt right there for the brake line. And then one lower nut. It should just slide right out of here. And then the lower mount, since I am gonna run an aggressive wheel and tire for a couple months, I don't want it to be super low because it'll probably contact the fender. So what I'm gonna do is peek through this hole here, and I'm gonna lower this down until all the threads are just showing into the hole. So that means I have full contact with all the threads in the lower collar. And then I will set that as the test ride height and drop it down and see where it lands. And then I can go lower from there. All right, I got the fronts on. You can see this is the ride height that I have it set at. It'll compress a little bit, but hopefully it won't touch. These wheels fit the OEM GT-R body really good. They're 18 by 9.5 plus 12, which is like the Z-Tune spec. But I do need to swap the tires out for 265s, so it'll kind of bring the tire out as well. And over here you can see coilover install. So pretty straightforward. You got the two bolts on the top. The brake line bracket, it does have a threaded part of the bracket, but also the coilover bracket is threaded. So the easiest thing that I like to do is just drill a new hole in the OEM bracket, so you can slide the bolt through the coilover bracket and just thread it that way. And then you still have the OEM bolt hole there that's threaded. Silvers also gives you a spacer, so you got to make sure you put that spacer on the inside, not the outside. So put it against the knuckle and then put the lower bolt on. And that's it for the front. So I'm gonna get this wheel on and then I'll move to the back. Probably the biggest pain in the ass on the rear is taking the back seats out and then taking the upper speaker tray in the back window, and you got to kind of unclip it and slide it down so that way you can get to the top two bolts. And the reason why you have to go through all that trouble is because one of the nuts is kind of sandwiched against the seatbelt mechanism. So you got to get up in there and loosen the seatbelt mechanism, and that'll be able to push that out of the way, and then you can get that other nut off. But once you get those two off, then it's just one lower bolt right here. Then you can pull the OEM strut out and put the new coilover in. The R34 is back on the ground. As far as the rear, once you put the Silvers coilover up, it's kind of difficult to get the top in because it's so short now that you can't just hold it on the knuckle and put the top bolts in. So that's kind of a two-person job. So one person will hold the coilover in the wheel well while the other person, you know, finger tights the nuts on top. But other than that, the rear is super simple and straightforward. And then obviously you got to put the seats back in. But the other little tip I'll give you when installing coilovers to make sure they don't come loose after driving on them is I don't tighten the top nuts on the front or the rear until I have the car on the ground under its own weight. That way the coilover is pushed up with the vehicle weight as far as possible. So when you tighten those nuts on the top, it's not gonna come loose when you drop the car on the ground. Just a little quick tip, drop the vehicle on the ground, tighten all the nuts, and then you're good to go. So take a look. I guess I'm gonna end that video here, guys. Big shout out to Silvers Coilovers. They've been supporting me for a couple years in drifting. So I run their coilovers on everything. It's a great product. So hit them up if you need a set of nice coilovers. And they do have the option for Swift springs and all that stuff and custom spring rates. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. And I got another project car. So stay tuned, check that out. Should be fun. Peace.